So, hello and welcome along to another edition of Isolation Interviews for Hospital Radio Reading and for my YouTube channel. And I'm super excited to be joined by another member of the Neighbours cast, the fantastic Xavier Molyneux. I hope I pronounced that right.
Right, that's perfect. That's perfect.
So
Call me
how
whatever you want,
so
as
how
long
are
as you
you?
call me, my friend.
So how are you? What have you been up to recently?
Recently, just working on Neighbours, it takes up a fair chunk of your time. We've got what do we do? 5 episodes a week, so it's non-stop. It's a machine. I'd like to say that I've got other things in the works, but it's just that, and I'm worried that to give away any storylines and stuff like that because I've never really done one of these interviews, so. Very busy, very busy. Yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I mean, there is so much to talk about because obviously you've had, such a great sort of introduction to Neighbours. But first of all, I thought we'd go a little bit further back because a lot of people in Australia will know you best or will know you for Big Brother, which I mean, we obviously have our own version here in the UK. But you were on Big Brother in 2020, the year when the world kind of went a bit crazy. What was that like?
Yeah, it's funny to think back to. But yeah, it was crazy, and it wasn't the Big Brother we thought it was going to be going into it. We thought, we'd seen all the old ones, and we thought it was a bit like that. But this one was a bit more of a survivor situation where people were voted off, and you had to make teams and stick around and do all that. But then the whole COVID thing happened, and to be honest, I didn't think it was real to start off with. I thought they were just messing with our heads. I remember we didn't get some portions one day. It was the grains or something. They didn't come through with our kitchen delivery. And at this point, we're like 28 days in, starving. And I went into the Big Brother room just being like, "It's in our contract. You have to give us this food." And they're like, "Oh, we couldn't get it from the supermarket." And I was like, "What do you mean you can't get it from the supermarket? It's grains." And then they pulled us in and told us about COVID, and it all sort of made sense. But at the same time, I just didn't really believe it. Um, so yeah, it was a big old head spinning. We went in and there was no COVID, and then we came out and it was lockdown here in Sydney. And yeah, wild ride, wild ride. I think I was 22 at the time going in, and yeah, never really thought. I was trying to be an actor, and I was also a paramedic at the time, and um, so somebody said, "Hey, why don't you do Big Brother? I mean, you give any 21-year-old a chance at $250,000, you got to say yes." So that's how I ended up on there. And coming off it, I just thought there was no way I was ever going to be an actor because I think the days of converting from reality TV to acting isn't it's not really it's sort of frowned upon. I felt so. I never really thought I was going to be an actor afterwards, and I didn't think it would help. If anything, it was going to negatively sort of diminish those chances. But
Well,
hey, look at me.
yeah, exactly. I noticed in the past that there's been a lot of, people saying that people get pigeonholed into one category. You're either a singer, you're a dancer, an actor, you're a TV presenter. Nowadays, we're getting more of that. People can do a bit of everything. But I think there was a time when it was sort of frowned upon. Like you said, you can do one, but you can't do them all. So do you think it's good that we're coming out of that and now people can do multiple things and, be allowed to do them and get them out there?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, like if you look at Hugh Jackman, like singing, dancing, acting, all that sort of stuff, and what they teach in acting schools, the more the better. But we're coming into an age now where you've got reality TV and Instagram and stuff, and that sort of following, and people will get picked up for jobs just for the sort of following they have. We're moving into that era. You see TikTok stars getting onto shows and stuff, and that's another avenue now to sort of come onto the scene. So each their own, I think.
Exactly.
Um, yeah.
Now, briefly, just going back to the Big Brother situation for you, when they first told you about COVID, and was it a matter of kind of pretty much the house disbanded at that point, or did you stay in there for a bit during COVID? What was that like? Was that a bit strange?
Um, so we were pretty much isolated as it was, so they could keep the show running. We shut down for 2 days, and I remember I think it was they shut us down for 2 days, and then they they brought us back into game, and the next nomination, I'm pretty sure I was kicked out. Um, so I don't think I clicked back into the game mode too quickly. I was sort of falling apart in there anyway. So yeah, but they put us on pause for 2 days. That was the best 2 days. No cameras, no nothing. It was just pizza and ice cream.
And I imagine that's as well when you can properly be yourself and relax, knowing that you're not being watched for once.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that was always in the back of my mind. You know, there were people there being themselves, and which is great, but also just like, you know, you worry how much of this stuff's going to get out onto air. My mum told me going into it, she was pretty firm with me, being like, "This, whatever you do in there is going to come out here. So just be careful." So in a way, you know, you're going in there to play a game, and you don't want to say the wrong thing, or piss off the wrong person, because they can manipulate that story whatever which way they want in the edit, which is totally up to them. That's how they make a good TV show.
And do you
So
genuinely do you genuinely forget that the cameras are on? Do you, because I imagine when you're relaxed, it's not always. Is it always in the back of your mind, or do you kind of forget?
um, for myself, I knew I was on a TV show. I never sort of let that guard down. Um, yeah, it's what you want out of it. You know, some people go in there with a really loud personality and go, well, if I get kicked out, I'll still, get some sort of, following, and use that persona, whatever, whichever way they want. But yeah, that wasn't me. But again, each their own. Play it how you will.
And well, I must just briefly mention, because you're not the only Neighbours actor to have done a Big Brother. I don't know if you know, but Ryan Maloney, who played Toady, did the celebrity version here in the UK. So have you and him had any kind of conversations about Big Brother?
No, I think it's to be honest, I think it like the whole reality thing sort of frowned upon. I don't bring it up too often. People sometimes ask me, but I haven't really brought it up with Ryan. I don't know how he went on his time. I speak to other people who've been on Big Brother, and I think some of them found it really stressful. So I know I sort of steer clear of it a bit, because I don't know, some people have like a bit of PTSD from it, or like, or are really grumpy about it. So we just want to leave it in the past. So no, I haven't. I should though. I should. He came third or something,
Yeah,
didn't he? He
yeah,
did
yeah.
pretty
Came
well.
in came in third place. I think he was a bit annoyed because he got beaten by an American couple who were annoying most people. They weren't overly liked. But I
Oh,
think he came across thoroughly well on the show, and he was great.
so he had a shot at the. He had an actual shot at the title and the money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He came
Oh
very
shit.
close, very close.
Okay. Oh well, he's yeah. Maybe. No, I shouldn't bring it up with him. It's probably you get close. When you get real close to the money, it hurts a lot more. But yeah.
Now we must obviously talk about 2023 when Neighbours comes around. How did that first come about for you? Because I mean, obviously the character of Byron had already been played on screen by someone else. So what was that like to come into a show, take over a character? What was that like?
It's funny because I auditioned for the character when it first came around, and obviously lost out. But your agent tells you, "Oh no, you got really close," and like blah blah, blah, and it hurts more when you hear it like that. But yeah, thank well, Joe went on to some other work, and which opened up the door for me. So it was great to hear that he was, he got more work, and his character was flying. But coming onto the show for me, I didn't watch too much of his stuff, because I just didn't want to see what he was doing and replicate it. I thought, I've got to do something different and do something a bit more me, I guess. Um, and that's what I sort of lent towards. And in saying that, that was probably more of a choice of, um, a bit more of a, a goof, or like a bit more, I guess, I don't know how to put it, but like, a bit more less serious towards to what we're seeing now, I guess. But yeah, hopefully made it my own. I don't
Because
know. I
we
don't
were
know. It's
discussing
still there.
just before we came on and started recording, we were talking about obviously but but we both kind of loved our Neighbours in the past. I mean, I've been watching it for donkey's years. How long have you been into the show, been watching the show in the past?
Oh, we would have watched it. We gather around the TV probably from the age of like 8 onwards, 8 until like 16. or something. When you hit that age, you're probably not watching TV anymore. You're running off doing other things. But yeah, we were a huge Neighbours family back in the day, and yeah, God, it's good because you sit around with your family and you say, oh, why are they doing that and what's that, and then you've also got Simpsons over here. It was a bit of like a so yeah, huge fan and of the main cast. I grew up with them, so just seeing them in the flesh is a bit of a head spin. And my mum always asks me, "Oh, what's he like? Or what are they like?" La la. And I go, "Oh, Mum, they're great. Like they're here for a reason. They've been on this show for that long for a reason because they're great people and they're great characters."
And to be
So
brought into the to be brought into the show with your mum being played by the icon that is Annie Jones, Jane. What
yeah,
what is that like? Because I mean, I've spoken to her a few times and she's just fantastic.
oh, Jane's lovely, and she's still got this. She's just like a big kid. She's still and she's so energetic to get on set, and and she's got this sort of aura. But yeah, I did my first scene at Neighbours. It was the one where he comes out of the elevator and gets greeted by Jane, Annie Jones. And I remember being so nervous and just being like, oh God, this is the first one. What should I do? I've got to do something. I got to act. I got to do it. And Jane was just cool as a cucumber. I mean, Annie, and she really took me under her wing there for the first bit. And yeah, it felt like a mum. And hopefully maybe that sort of seeped into the characters that we see now. But she's been lovely. She's cool. She's cool.
And
Cool.
also getting to work with Misha Barton must have been amazing because I mean, obviously she was only on the show for a short while, but just what a great role that was. So what was it like working with her?
Yeah, Mish was great. God, they gave her a lot, I must say, and she handled it like a pro. Some people, it's sort of like coming onto Neighbours is a bit of a whiplash of how many scenes you sort of get dumped on you, but she was a main character across everybody's storyline. And she was great. She was lovely, to work with, and she just took it head on. And we were sort of trying to figure out Neighbours both at the same time, so we sort of had each other to lean on there. Um, yeah, and Misha Barton. I mean, it says it all. People would just go, "Oh, and what was that like?" And blah blah. Oh, I know Misha from the OC. That's crazy. So yeah, it's another. It just went from headspin to headspin, being on Neighbours next to Misha Barton, and then having to do those like romantic scenes. And yeah, 4 months earlier, I was a full-time paramedic, and then 4 months later, I'm lying in bed with Misha Barton. So yeah,
And I mean, the show's had some really great characters and names in it recently. Obviously, we know that Guy Pearce has been back. I imagine none of you, other than Annie, have actually got to work with him yet because a lot of the scenes were filmed before the show came back, if that makes sense.
yeah, never got to meet Guy. I know that he's really close with Henrietta, who plays Sam, and she speaks so highly of him, and I just go off her word. But never got to meet him. Wish I could, but and congratulations to him for the Emmy nod I saw. Um, but yeah, hopefully he comes back and we can have a beer or something.
I was going to say that I imagine the whole cast would love for him to come back at some point. It will never be permanent, I think it's safe to say, but even just to have him back on a sort of semi-reoccurring basis, that must be quite a sort of hopeful moment. You would like that to happen, I imagine.
Oh yeah, if he's ever got free time and he finds himself in Australia, we have him back in a heartbeat. Well, I know I would. I don't know about everybody else, but I think it's a pretty well known thing that we would accept him. We'd write him in 2 seconds, even if it's a drive by scene. That's if he
And we must touch upon the awards because Neighbours, since its return, has had an Emmy nomination. Well, two Emmy nominations, obviously for the show itself and Guy Pearce. You're also currently longlisted for a National Television Award here in the UK. So the cast must be feeling so positive at the moment with all these nominations, things that haven't really come about in the past. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody, it's just a nod to everybody there who's working so hard. I mean, it's such a machine that you get very sort of focused onto what you're doing day in day out, and that stuff. I guess it's because it's over in America and over in England. It doesn't really affect us too much, but I think all that goes down to, the environment that Neighbours is right now. I think the cast, the crew, and production are all firing away, and Amazon, thank you to them. But it's been a big lift off, and we felt that from the beginning. And maybe this is just the things that happen when that happens. Well, we haven't really processed like what that looks like. All the cast are just like, oh, cool, we've got 6 scenes to do today. Why are we talking about that? We just go, cool.
Are you all hopeful that you get invited to America to the awards ceremony, the Emmys?
I think we're realistic. We are hopeful, but mostly realistic, knowing that we'll be working full time. Hopefully, we can, I don't know, Skype in or send one of our big wigs to go and um, do the speech. But yeah, I think the cast know that it's a bit of a long shot trying to get over there. But we'll send someone. We'll send someone to pick it up. Hopefully,
Now,
fingers
obviously,
crossed.
since your time on the show, we've also seen Byron a couple of love interests. Currently with Sadie, who I think Byron and Sadie are such a great couple. But for you, are you enjoying the kind of the Byron Sadie mix, or do you think Byron's better suited to Reese? Who do you think he's best suited to?
I think at the start we saw a very serious Byron with Reese, older woman, still sort of in that escorting frame of, that. So I think it's a different type of Byron. I think Sadie really brought out, a bit more of a funner side of him, less serious, and they have fun together. And Emerald Chance just a hoot to work with. I remember when we first got told that we'd be getting paired together, we both just went, no, we really didn't want to do it. And we were just like, we were trying to do the intimacy coordination where you've got to like kiss and like, do all that sort of stuff. And we were just laughing all the way through it. So to see what it is now, and then they're like, oh, we're going to have to, we might have to, change things up every now and then. And we're like, no, we don't want to leave each other now. And they're like, but you guys didn't want to be together in the first place. I'm like, but I like the Byron that's fun and playful, and that we've got to see in more recent times. But yeah, that's how I feel. But the audience might prefer the old, up to no good, sneaking around the hotel sort of Byron.
And I mean the share house vibe. I mean the characters involved in the share house are such a great mix of people. I mean you've obviously got Mackenzie, who's that kind of level head, who's the sort of I don't want to say sensible one, but she's kind of more the sensible one. Then you've obviously got Haz, who has had a lot of drama recently, and poor Haz in hospital at the moment. But for you, when you get to do those scenes with the kind of the younger cast members, what are they like? Because they look like a joy to do.
They're great because you just between the three of us there, and like I would want to include Lucinda and Emerald, Sadie and Holly, the five of us. Everybody just trusts each other. I mean, we've been on this show all together, and we feel like we all started at the same time, except for Emerald. She started a bit earlier, but she didn't really have that tight of a crew and that many scenes. But yeah, we really trust each other, and it comes with that, just being like, can we try this? This sounds funny. Oh, that's kind of not funny. Why don't we do this? Or and everybody brings those characters to life. I mean, Georgie was always, a lot like a warm person, like with plenty of heart. That's how she is, and that's how Mackenzie comes across. And Haz is a bit more intellectual and quirky, and that's how he comes across. And I mean, if you saw everybody's desk at work, it's pretty obvious how everybody fits in. But yeah, that comes with trust, and that's what we have, I think.
And we must just briefly talk about the Has storyline recently because I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes as to how much technology has moved on. Because I did not know anything really about deepfakes and AI being so advanced. So, I mean, was that a bit of an eye opener for you guys, or had you done your research? What was that like to get involved in that storyline?
I feel like everybody knows the sort of. I think they do well, the writing team, to keep up with the times and what's sort of on the newsstand. And when they were writing that, I believe there was something. I mean, like the AI affecting the entertainment industry was a big hot topic. Um, we're seeing the repercussions of that now with Scarlett Johansson going through a lawsuit for her voice. So I think it is. dangerous, but it also will bring, um, you know, good things, I believe. But as for this storyline, yeah, there's and for the older generation as well, I think there's scams. Like those scams are horrendous. I've met people before who have fallen victim to that. So I think it's a great storyline that has a lot of prevalence in today's times. But yeah, we knew about it. We've done our research. We sort of know that.
And we must also just briefly mention Trevor, because I mean, Trevor just seems like
Mm.
an absolute joy. But what's he like to work with?
Um, we call him Wetbeard on set between me and Haz because he just comes in and he is just like he's always come from like he's just been drinking water and his whole just everything's wet and he comes up and licks everything and you're just like it's everywhere and it takes a bit to settle him down. But he's a bit of a diva, he's a bit of a scene stealer and a diva, but we love him dearly and yeah, he's getting better. He's definitely getting better. But yeah, we wouldn't want him any other way. He's
Because I
great.
know I know recently we had the scene where both Byron and Sadie were trying to sneak Trevor into the hospital. Were you actually having to kind of keep him under the blanket, or how was? Because that must have been fun to film, trying to keep him in one place.
Yeah, we filmed it. I think we got one good take, like straight off the bat, and we were just like, oh my god, Bodhi's having a good day here. So we just took that take and then put the blanket over him and just like pretended he was there for a bit of it, and then like the little cutaways, they did that movie magic thing. But yeah, he was having a good day. I don't know what it was about that day, but a couple of extra treats and he'll do the work.
Now we have got the storyline at the moment where we've started to find out a bit about Vic Stone, obviously Byron's and Nicolette's dad. We know he's got cancer. I mean, when you're doing when you were first told that the character of Victor was being brought in, how much were you told, and what was your sort of thoughts on us getting to meet the dad, as it were?
Well, I feel like he's had such a build up. He's always referenced as like, this piece of work. Let's say piece of work. He's always been referenced as like this sort of sleaze bag who's sort of wheeling and dealing. And yeah, so we had a lot to go by. And the first person that you ask when it comes to that is Miss Annie Jones because she's got the goss. And we're like, so what's dad like? She's like, oh, bad news, bad news. But it was really exciting to hear that we were going to have Victor Stone come on because first of all he's got the big drum roll. Second of all, it's a nice step to play that instead of I feel like Byron's being a bit more in the romantic side of things, and to have something where he's a bit you just get to do something different, instead of the boyfriend girlfriend stuff. So I was really excited, and Craig Hall, who plays Vic, is just he's a professional and he's so lovely and he's got the time for you and he's open and he's honest and he's everything that you could ask for when they tell you that oh, somebody's coming in or they're a guestie and you're like, oh, I wonder what they're like, oh, I wonder what they're like. And he took it over and was so kind to me as a younger actor. So I love it. I really love it as much as it might look a bit difficult on screen. That all comes from just actors working well together because they like each other. They
And
have
we
a great
won't.
time.
I was going to say we won't give too much away, but there is a nice sort of couple of scenes coming up soon where Byron, Nicolette, and Vic all go and do mini golf, which I think it was lovely to watch. So, I mean, for you, when you get to go and do those sorts of scenes that are just fun, nice scenes, what are they like? Because I mean, you get a lot of heavy stuff, so it must be quite nice when you can have that more light-hearted stuff.
Yeah, the lighthearted stuff. It's always just like a nice breath, a nice deep breath, because all the other stuff is quite wound up, and you want to do it and do it. So this stuff was just a great time to go and have a bit of mini golf with my sister and my dad, and have a good day out. So yeah, no, exactly. It's nice to have those.
Now, a question that I've asked a few guests in the past that I quite like this question is if you were to meet Byron in real life, do you think you personally would get on well with him? Is he someone you could imagine being friends with?
Um, Yeah, yeah, he's a good guy. He's a bit of a mama's boy, but so am I. So yeah, I'd have a beer with him, see what he's like, and yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because it's you, isn't it? You know, nah, he's cool. He's cool. I like him.
And I mean, have you ever actually visited the UK? Is the UK somewhere you've ever been to, or would you love to come over at some point?
I have visited. I really struggle with the UK because the weather is just toxic. And when I was, but I love the UK people and stuff like that. But I can't deal with the weather. It's cold, and yeah, I even struggle here in Melbourne. I'm a Sydney sider, so even here in Melbourne, no beaches, and it gets very cold very quickly. But I love your pub scene. Pub scene's great. Um, yeah,
I mean, it's
it's
funny
pretty.
this
You're pretty.
this last couple of
Yeah, you.
days we've had mixed bag of weather. We've had lovely sunshine, and then suddenly the next minute thunderstorms and rain. So yeah, it's not great until summertime is sometimes a bit better, but still not always the best.
I think you guys do pretty good to be so chipper about it because if I lived over there, I would just be dragging my feet. I think you guys take it on the nose pretty well. So maybe it's because I know what Australia's like and I know what I'm missing. But yeah, just growing up here, I couldn't do it. But
Now, quickly before we go, I mean, obviously there is such an amazing cast on the show. Who would you, if you got the chance to work more with someone that you don't get to work with much, who would you love to do more scenes with going forward?
I'd have to say, I do a fair few scenes with everybody, but I'd love to do more with Candace and with Sarah West. Those two sort of stick out as because it'd be fun to see those characters overlap, and also I just love those girls. But in saying that, of course, you want to do them with some of the head honchos, but I find it's a bit scary sometimes going up against Paul Robinson or having scenes with Jackie and Fletch because you just feel out of your depth and you get a bit giddy. So I'm gonna go with those two. Let's rock with those.
And I mean, talking about legends, obviously at the moment we're about to see the return of Ian Smith, Harold, of
Mm.
course. Have you got chance to do much with him, or is he someone again you would like to do more with?
Oh, I'd love to do more with Harold. Ian Bishop, um, the big bad Bish, love him. He's just a worldly man, you know. He's got so much time for you, and he listens, and he's just a lovely man. So of course you want to do a scene with Harold, but unfortunately Byron doesn't really rotate in the same worlds. I mean, we've got Irene Rising and Sharehouse don't really cross over too much unless I don't know how they'd write it in, but love to. I said fly fishing. I said, why don't they go? I pitched the idea Harold and Byron get into metal detecting at Harold's lake there, and they find like a finger with a ring on it. And they go, oh, yeah, what happens next? And I go, you're the writers. That's all I've got. You guys do, you guys take it from here. Um, but yeah.
Now, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving up your time. But before we go, is there any messages you'd like to give to the patients who are stuck in hospital at the moment? Anything you'd like to say to them?
First of all, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Rolland here. I think he does a great job in passing on a bit of entertainment. But to all the patients and especially the nurses there, keep be nice to each other and good luck. I used to be a paramedic only a year and a half ago, and man, I think everybody in the hospitals there loves a bit of whether it's Neighbours or this, and can take you a bit out of it. But all the best. Sending lots of love from Neighbours to you guys, and um, yeah, best wishes. I don't know. I didn't. I should have written something down, but um, yeah.
And we should also say that people should keep watching Neighbours. It's on Monday to Thursday. It drops 7 a.m. on Amazon Freevee. Got to stick with it because the show just keeps going from strength to strength. So, Xavier, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your public holiday. I know it was a bank is a holiday right
Yeah,
now,
yeah, we've got a nice
so
bank holiday today.
yeah, I can tell it's a bit sunny behind you. So go enjoy it. Get out there.